Good afternoon and welcome to our live at 5 this Thursday afternoon. My name is Jenny McCormack. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in the UK. This week we've been focusing on this stamp set, Beautiful World, and the matching dies that go with it. I said earlier in the week it would be really good fun to use these stamps to make a little suitcase, and that's exactly what we're doing today. So I'm going to show you how I calculated the size of the suitcase and obviously make it with you. Now these Maltesers are featuring today because I decided I want my little suitcase to hold a packet of Maltesers. So it's always useful to have a starting point with something that you want to wrap, or something that needs to fit in something else, rather than just designing a box for the sake of it. So hopefully people will hop on and join us shortly. Oh, hi Christine and Carol with an E. Thank you for hopping on and saying hi. So, as I say, this is the stamp set. What I'm going to show you is how I calculated the box dimensions first. Then we're going to stamp over the base, and then we're going to create the box itself to make it look like, hopefully, like a suitcase. And my plan is to use these antique corners here in the corners of the suitcase, and also these little sliders like buckles to go underneath what would be the straps. That's my theory. It's all in my head at the minute, so I'm hoping that I can transfer that from my head to the card. Oh, brilliant. Hi, Karen. Have you moved then, Christine? Okay, so this is the design, and let me show you how I calculated to make the size of the box. And these are actually my calculations as I as I made them earlier this afternoon. So what I do is I take my finished product, that is what I want to wrap up, and I measure that. So you can either obviously measure in centimeters or inches, depends on what you're used to. So I just measure roughly how much I want that to be and how deep, how tall it's going to be, and obviously the height itself of the box. So I've actually measured this in inches just to make life easy. So I decided that this is about 4 inches by 3 inches, and the height is about 1 inch, like so. The packet's not what's the word, it's not symmetrical, the packet's slightly wonky, but there we go. Okay, so that is the size. So the way that I calculate it is I draw myself a little box, if you like. So I take this base measurement, so I've got 3 inches. This is obviously not to scale. I might do this with a Sharpie. I can find one. I had loads earlier. There we go. Oh yes, I thought you meant your new address. Hi Jeanette. Oh, I've got loads of Sharpies now. Okay, so this in my calculation, whoops, is 3 inches. That's the height of there, and my width here is 4 inches, so that is going to fit into there. Now I need the sides, which will be the height, so I need to add 1 inch here and 1 inch here, so that I've got 4 inches and then 2 that'll come up the side. Okay, so I know that my whole sheet will need to be 6 inches wide to start with. Obviously, if you wanted this 2 inches deep to put 2 packets in, then you would just add another one on either side. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to start with. Let me just see. Oh, that's okay, I don't mind. Love using my grid paper. It's there to be used. Okay, so I want a front of the box here coming up. So I need to add the depth here at the front. So I'm going to add another inch here. That's the front. So that comes up here. This is the bit underneath, and then I want another inch at the back. Okay, so there's another inch on either side. Okay, which is the back. Then I'm going to have another piece come across, which is obviously going to be the same height as that. So I need another 3 inches, like so. So it comes over, and then I want to tuck the flap in. At the front, I don't want it just to meet, so I want another inch at the front. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So my total going this way will be 1 plus 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this whole area here will be 9 inches. So I hope that makes sense on how I've calculated it, and that's how I usually do them. Once you've done a few of these types of boxes, so this is called typically called a pizza box because the lid is included as part of the box. When you've done this a few times, you know actually that all you need is this width here plus the 2 amounts of the height, and then going the other way you need 2 of that bit and 3 of the height. But don't worry, I've just made it sound very complicated. Okay, so this was my practice one, and you can actually see here where I've done my calculations. So 1, 3, 1, 3, and my 1 at the top, and then I've got 4 inches and 1 either side. I appreciate you probably can't see that, and none of that is to scale, obviously. So I have already cut this one up, but I'll show you where the calculations fit in. So that is where it's going to sit. This is my bit at the front. This bit comes up, across, and then this bit goes down, and then these bits obviously just fold in at the side. Somewhat prettier than that. Okay, but that will make your box. Okay, so I hope that gives you some ideas on calculating. If you have any problems with that, just email me and I'll see if I can help you. Okay, so I know what my measurements will be. So I've cut this piece 6 inches by 9 inches. Obviously this could be metric. And what I'm going to do before I do any scoring or cutting is I'm going to stamp all the way over it with my world maps. I think I'm just going to use one world map and the compass. You could use these little curly things as well, and also I could use some dots. I mean, you could use anything really that you think you would want your suitcase to look like. Yes, this is still this pad is still available to order, Christine, I'm sure. As is the small grid paper. I think it's called floral grid paper. If you search for that, if you can't find it, let me know and I can give you the number. The downside to this is it is single-sided, okay, but it is just so pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp all the way over this. I'm not going to spend too much time the main thing really is the making of the box. So I'm just going to stamp this. You could have them overlapping. I'm turning them round so they're at different angles as well. Oops, I just knocked something over. My glue dots. Hopefully I'll remember that's where they are if I need them. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp over here, as I say, not doing anything particularly special, and then I'm going to cut it up. Yes, cut and score after I've done this. And the only reason I do that is because it's quite difficult to stamp on an area where you've scored the lines. There we go. So I'm just filling this in. I might add a few of the curly things, I'm not sure. But you could add anything from any of the other similar stamp sets, like Sail Away. And you could use the dots from Forever Fern. But for our purposes, just go to... Now it's told me it's disconnected, but it's live again. So fingers crossed we've come back. I'll need to open this up like so. So 5 inches. Then I've got the 3 inches for the next height, which is 8 inches, and that will leave me with that 1 inch at the ends. Now you could obviously do 1 inch all the way around and then do 4 and 5. Okay, could you let me know by commenting if we're still live, because it hopped out and hopped back in again. Just going to leave it there for a minute in case. Let's get this straight for you. It says we're live. So what we are going to do is crease everything up, okay, fold it in nicely, and then cut off the tabs on one of the sides, because this is going to be the front and we don't need the extra tabs in the way. So let me just make sure Tracy's here. Oh, excellent. Good, as long as we're back and I don't have to restart, that's perfect. Okay, so all I do to begin with is just fold these lines in, and obviously our ink will have dried. So there you can see the formation of the suitcase, like that. And then I'm going to fold these in, 1 and 2, like that. If I just put this here, so on one of these edges I'm going to cut these off all together, these little tabs here. I'll do it on this side because then you might see the creases a little bit better. And then what I like to do is just angle each of these pieces in very slightly so that you get a nice edge. And in fact I can do it with that piece as well, sorry. Just that you've got, rather than a sharp edge, you've got an edge that sort of cuts in like that. You can see that. Okay, and then we're going to do the same all the way along here. So cut in to that score line on each of those. So only one of those corners need to come out, like so. So if you just think of it as an arrowhead, you're cutting to the point. And I do tend to cut this one as well. Okay, exactly the same with this one. So cut the arrowhead like that. So I hope everybody's well. It's incredibly dark already. I know it's been, well, it's been a dull day for us here, that's for sure. Rain showers on and off, and just very dull. Okay, so with any luck, it will match roughly my earlier one. Let's just take that little piece out. So if you're doing some of these and you know you're going to use these again or something similar, then keep this as a template. You could write on it Maltesers and the size of the bag. So completely nameless. Let's say it's 37 grams. But you could use obviously things like Haribo's or whatever. And let's call this a box template. And then if you keep that to hand and use some old card, this isn't old, this is soft sea foam, this is just the first colour I came to, then you'll find that most useful. Okay, if you're only doing a one-off, then you don't need to do that. Okay, and then you can just recalculate it from somewhere else. Okay, so the way the box is going to go together is that this front piece is going to all be tucked in like so, like that. Okay, so what I want to do is put glue on the stamped side of all of these, okay, because they're going to be the insides like that. And my preference is wet glue rather than tape for this. Let me just see if we're all still there. Very good. Oh, sunny. Oh, yes, I don't even remember it being sunny this morning. It might have been. Okay, so a scribble of glue on each of these. Okay, and your best bet is just to give this a little bit of time to go tacky, because it will stop the glue from squishing out if it's already started to go tacky, and it will hold much quicker onto the surface rather than just doing it straight away. Okay, so if you can give it a minute or two, don't want to leave it forever. If it's gone clear, then it won't be a permanent glue, it'll only be a part permanent glue. Okay, that will do for our purposes. If you can give it a bit longer than I would. And then all you're going to do is bring this up and fold these together nicely. I'll try and lift this up so you can see. Like so. Okay, and then the same with this. This is a bit more tricky to show you, but here and here, like so. And you can see these don't go exactly square on because we've cut that little corner off. If you hadn't cut the corner off, then these would be more square. And the danger is if you squish it too much, then it won't end up being a square box. And then what's going to happen is that these pieces are going to tuck in like so. Like that. So that will be your finished box. It can either tuck in the front, or you can have the flap sitting over the top. If you're finding it's not tucking in particularly well, you can take a little bit more of this off, so you've got a bit less being tucked in, if that makes any sense. Okay, just do it a little bit at a time. Okay, so that fits in a bit better. And the same with this here. If you find it's too tight, then you can take a little bit of that off. Okay, so that is basically our box, our suitcase. Okay, so this can tuck in and it will sort of hold itself in place. Okay, so it's known as a pizza box design, just because it's all hinged. And what I do like about this is you don't end up with a top and a bottom that you're trying to fit one inside the other, because they do need to be slightly different widths. So what I'm going to do is just grab a sponge, which I knocked onto the floor with the glue dots. I have no idea if that's got any colour on it. And just going to prime my sponge here and just brush along these edges so you can weather it if you wish. Now you could do a lot of weathering. You could add like little stickers and things to make it look like it, you know, travelled the world. But I don't bother doing this bit until I've got the box together. Okay, because the side bits you don't need to do necessarily. So you can do as much or as little if you want it to look vintage. Now there's nothing to stop you doing this with a strong designer paper. Personally, for this I think it works better with card, but you could cover that with designer paper if you wanted to. Apologies if you don't like the sound of the sponge. Okay, so as I say, absolutely as much or as little as you want for your blending of the sponge. How are we doing? Are we still live? Yes, and we still have people. Oh, perhaps it was sunny this morning. I just don't remember. Just don't remember. Okay, so add as much or as little, and as I said, just let the glue go tacky, and then it won't squish out so much. So now I can pop my Maltesers in, and you'll see it's a great fit. Okay, so what I thought I would do is add a bit more embellishment to this. So this would be quite nice with some travel mints or something if you had somebody that was travelling. So I've got these corners. So these are our antiqued corners and sliders. They're called slides. Sorry, not sliders. And I think this would be particularly cute with those in each corner. So I'm going to turn those over. So they have a design on one side, you can see that in the light, and then a sort of a ribbed side there. So you could choose whichever side you wanted, and I'm going to do the same thing. You could use glue dots for these, but I think a bit of tacky glue will be better. So as I say, pop it on, let it begin to tack. And the other thing I thought that would be nice would be to add some buckles. So you could do this with ribbon. So this is our 1/4 inch ribbon. This is our faux suede. You could also do it with a strip of card, and you could actually have some card that you'd embossed, I've only got a little bit of this left because I've used this in a project recently. I do have plenty of the cinnamon here, cinnamon cider, so I've just popped the slider on for you to see it like that. So what you could do is attach this onto either the front, just attach myself to that. You could either have it just on the front if you wanted, or you can have it going all the way around, okay, right to the bottom. It's entirely up to you, depends on how much ribbon you have. And then this could either come down over the front and you could leave that loose, or you could attach it completely with some tape. Right, let's pop these pieces on. Just going to pick this up if it'll let me. No, not quite, a bit too heavy. But, so this is the front, so I'm just going to slide this on. And one good thing about that, having that glue is tacky, is it doesn't leave so much of a trail because it's not, hasn't got anywhere to go. So there's one. I nearly put that down on there then. Did you see that? Hey ho. Right, here's two. This would make a great man's gift. So, if you don't stick it to your fingers. It could be, you could have cufflinks inside, for example. Let me get that nice and straight. There we go. Let's put this one on. I would definitely do this with the box in, you know, made up in situ, not try and do it beforehand. Because you might find you end up putting the corners on the wrong piece. Obviously, if you're generous, you could put corners on every single corner, top and bottom, if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm just popping that on there, like so. Okay, I've got a little bit of spare glue here, which I'll wipe off with a with my adhesive remover when it's all dry. So there we go, like that. And then, as I said, you could either have two little straps. I think I will with this because it's all matching, whereas this one doesn't really coordinate. So let's take the slider off there. And I seem to remember in the pack there's 30, which is 20 corners and 10 sliders. Yeah, I'm just counting up, there's 16 there left. So that makes a good combination. So for each one, obviously I've got 4 and 2. So I think what I'm going to do is slide this one on. And this has, oh, they've got different edges. Never noticed that. So this one has got like a ribbed edge. I don't know if you can see that or not. And this one has like a scored edge. Well, I never. You learn something every day. So I would like matching ones. So it's obviously 5 pairs of 2. Okay, so I'm just going to slide both of these on and then cut this in half. Oh, okay, admission time. One side of the buckle is stripy, ribbed. The other side has got the detail on it. So yeah, hey ho. Is it nearly Friday? Oh dear. Now I've got those different ways. Right, under that one and over there. Do you think I've done too much crafting today? I've been videoing all day. That might be why. There we go, made it. So all I'm going to do, so that these are even, is fold this in half and cut it. Make sure my buckles don't. They do fit on there really nicely. They're a nice snug fit, so they're not loose and likely to come off. There we go. You could add a glue dot or a dab of glue onto there if you wanted to. So all I'm going to do for my one, I think, is just stick it like that, and then I'm going to trim the edge, only because that's all I've got left of that ribbon. So what am I going to put it down with? I think I'm going to use a glue dot, which I have recovered, for the end, and I'm going to just fold it over like that. You can see that. So I've got a folded glue dot. Just pop it on the end here. Same with this one. Voila. There we go. Perfect. And I think what I'm going to do is put these roughly level. Just want to put that one slightly. Okay, and put a glue dot the other side of the buckle just to hold it in place. So this looks a bit Heath Robinson, doesn't it? But hopefully it will do the job. So I'm going to position this about here, like so, and then the same with this one here. Now if you wanted to, you could measure that exactly so that you know you've got it in the right place, but I'm happy with it just being like so. And it's up to you whether you chop these edges off or whether you have them coming down in any way. I think if you put it onto the front, this would then be a little bit bulky to go in there, but you certainly could do. I think for my one, and the fact that I've gone on just a bit too long, I'm just going to trim this. Now what's nice about this ribbon is that it doesn't, as a general rule, fray. It's a faux suede, it's not real suede, but there we go. So I hope you like my little suitcase. You can move these up. So I've got those able to move up and down up to the point at which the glue dot is. You could add another glue dot here if you wished. So there we go. What do you think of my little suitcase? Jeanette says I need a break. I'll have a break. I'm fine. Bless you all. Oh dear. I will, yes, I'll have a break after our Let's Get Creative weekend, which is coming up. Okay, so I hope you like my little project for my suitcase. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow, Friday, And tomorrow I'm going to do some Christmas cards from our Christmas card kit. I haven't opened it yet. That's going to be my surprise for tomorrow. And I'll do a little bit of Christmas crafting for tomorrow. But I hope you like my suitcase to go with our projects from the Beautiful World suite. If you've missed any of the others, do hop back and have a look. They're all here on Facebook, and they're also uploaded to YouTube. So if you like what you see, always welcome a subscribe button or a comment to say that you've seen it and you like it. If you've got any questions on anything that I've done or measurements that you need, then please do just ask. I'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy your evening. I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow.